Today we're going to dig into an ancient story that has this incredibly powerful modern lesson. It's really a story for anyone who's ever been on the verge of giving up. It's a powerful reminder of what might be lying just past that final moment of effort.
I mean, really think about it for a second. A project, a goal, maybe a really tough situation. That moment where you have poured your heart and soul into something only to feel like you've just slammed into a brick wall. Where all that effort feels completely pointless and you're thinking quitting is the only sane option here. Yeah, that feeling. Let's hang on to that.
So, our story kicks off with someone who is feeling exactly that way. A dedicated monk who has hit his absolute breaking point. And look, this wasn't for lack of trying. This monk had put in the time, 5 years of his life on this path, and for the last 3 months, he'd been out in the forest, meditating like his life depended on it. He was doing everything by the book, and got absolutely nothing. Zip, nada, not even a glimmer of insight.
So you can imagine he's just completely crushed. He comes to this conclusion that, you know what, this just isn't in the cards for me, not in this lifetime. So he decides he's going to quit his practice, head back to his teacher, not even to try again, but just for the comfort of being around him. He had totally given up.
So his fellow monks see him, they know what's up, and they bring him before their master, the Buddha. Now, you'd probably expect a lecture, right? A try-harder speech? Nope. Instead, the Buddha does something completely unexpected. He starts telling the monk about a past life that the monk couldn't even remember.
Wow, just imagine hearing that. You're at rock bottom, you've decided you're a failure, and your teacher tells you that you once possessed a strength so incredible it saved hundreds and hundreds of people. The Buddha's words basically opened a door to a forgotten history, and that's where our main story really begins. So the Buddha launches into this story from one of his own past lives, a time when he was a wise leader in charge of this massive caravan. We're talking 500 carts, guiding them across a huge, treacherous desert.
The conditions, as you can imagine, were brutal. During the day, the sand got so hot it was like walking on hot coals, so they could only travel at night. They had a special navigator, a land pilot, who used the stars to guide them, basically like a sailor on an ocean of sand. And after 59 long nights, they were almost there, so close they could taste it. Just one more night to go.
And you know how it goes. Right when you think you're home free, you let your guard down. They figured the worst was over, so they used up their last bits of wood and water. But that night, the land pilot, who was just exhausted after weeks of this, he nodded off. And without his guidance, the lead oxen just turned around and started walking right back the way they came.
So, morning comes, everyone wakes up expecting to see their new home, and instead, they see the exact same campsite they left the day before. The absolute horror of that moment, sickening. They were lost, they were exhausted, and now they were completely out of water in the middle of a deadly desert. All hope just evaporated.
I mean, it was over. People just gave up. They collapsed under their cart, weeping, just waiting to die. But as everyone else surrendered to despair, the caravan leader, the Bodhisatta, he refused. He knew that if he threw in the towel, it was game over for every single person there.
And this is where you see this huge difference in mindset, right? It's night and day. Everyone else is just seeing a dead end. But the leader, he's pacing, he's searching, he's looking for a solution. And then he spots something nobody else paid any attention to. One single, stubborn little clump of grass. And for him, it just clicked. In a place this dry, that grass could only be alive if it was pulling water from a source deep underground.
So he rallies the men, gets them on their feet. There's water here, he tells them, and orders them to dig right there. And this spark of hope is enough. They grab their shovels, their axes, and they start digging. And they're digging and digging, digging, 60 cubits down. And then, thunk. The shovels hit something solid, impenetrable, a massive slab of rock.
That sound, that dull thud of metal on stone, that was the sound of hope dying. Again, for the second time, it was over. They'd hit the ultimate dead end. They tried, they put in all that effort, and for what? It was impossible. Every last one of them just dropped their tools and gave up.
But not the leader. He climbs down into that deep pit himself. He doesn't just see a barrier, he investigates it. He gets down on his hands and knees, puts his ear right against that cold, hard stone, and in the silence of the pit, he hears it, faint, but it's there. The unmistakable sound of flowing water, a river running right underneath them. He scrambles back out and goes right to his personal attendant, a young boy. He looks him straight in the eye and says,
"Son, if you give up now, we all perish, every last one of us. Take this iron hammer, I need you to go down there and strike that rock with everything you've got." The fate of all 500 families now rested on this one person and one final act of will. Okay, so right at this incredible cliffhanger, the Buddha pauses the story. He brings the whole lesson right back to the present moment to explain the universal truth that was hidden inside this tale of the caravan.
This verse, this is the heart of the whole lesson. Just like those tireless people digging in the desert found life-saving water, a wise person, through that same kind of relentless effort on their own path, finds something even more precious: peace of the heart.
And that phrase, peace of the heart, or hariyasasanti in the original Pali, is so important. This isn't just about, feeling calm or chilling out. It's talking about a deep, unshakable peace and a liberating wisdom that you can only achieve by persevering through the absolute hardest challenges. That's the real water the sage is digging for.
And then, for the grand finale, the Buddha connects all the dots. He links the past to the present with this one final, absolutely stunning revelation about who the people in that story really were. So who was who? Well, the caravan leader, that was the Buddha himself. The 500 families, those were his followers, right there with him. But the servant, the young man who took the hammer, who didn't give up, who was the one to actually break the rock that saved everyone? Yeah, that was the very same monk sitting right in front of him, the one who was just about to quit. And hearing that, realizing that this incredible, unstoppable strength was already a part of his own story, it changed everything for the monk. He was profoundly moved. He went back to his meditation with this renewed fire, and this time he broke through his own barriers and reached his highest goal. And that's the big takeaway for all of us, isn't it? That giant rock at the bottom of the pit, it wasn't a sign to stop. It was the final obstacle right before the life-saving water. So often, the most overwhelming challenges show up right when we are closest to our goal. So this brings us all the way back to you and that question we started with. Think about that challenge in your life, that point where you feel like giving up. This ancient story is asking us to consider, what if you're standing right on top of the answer? So ask yourself, what rock in your life is just waiting for that one final strike?